All right, so within this module, we're going to see Charles bring up a question in the debriefing meeting where essentially we're looking over his analytics for the week. And I noticed that he got 50 responses to the amount of inbound outreach he has sent out. And out of those 50 responses he's gotten, he only got one call booked. And ultimately, we came to the conclusion that he wasn't building pain inside of the DM. This module is just to show you guys the importance of building up that pain, because I want you guys to understand if we don't build up that pain within the DMs, the prospect has no reason whatsoever to jump on that call, because what value can they get from it, right? Before we can provide a solution, they need to identify the problem, be aware of the problem. Otherwise, they're going to look at that call and they're going to look at it as a waste of time. Right? Why are they going to make time in their calendar, in their schedule to jump on a call with you, right? The only reason they would is if we went over their goals in the DM, not only went over their goals, but we talked about their pain, right? And got them to elaborate on that pain, resurfacing those feelings and making them feel like that goal that you're trying to work towards is far from their current situation, right? Because this gap that we built by identifying their goal and getting them to actually identify their current situation, right? This gap in between is going to create urgency, need to take action, right? To actually show up to that call and obtain whatever value they possibly can. But without creating this gap, there's no point of them jumping on that call in their head. All right, before we get into the live meet, I'm going to go over some of the best pain discovery questions you can ask within the DMs. First one being, what's holding you back from being X shape you want, right? That X variable is that dream physique that they have listed off, that they have mentioned. You never want to just be talking in general. You always want to make this hyper specific to the person that you're speaking to. So including that dream physique, whether it's an aesthetic physique, whether it's a athletic physique, whatever it is that they want, whatever it is that their goal physique is, you want to always be implementing that within your responses for sure. What's been one of the biggest struggles when it comes to staying consistent with fitness? How does that affect your day to day? What do you feel like you're missing out on because of it? If you could fast forward and already be in the shape you want, how would that change your life? And the last example I'm going to give you is, what would being in X shape allow you to do that you can't do right now? The framework that you're going to follow within asking these questions, we're going to start light, dig deeper, and then paint the gap. Just out of curiosity, what's been the biggest struggle with getting X shape? After that, you're going to say something along the lines of, how has that been affecting you outside of the gym? And then lastly, what would change for you if you actually fix that, right? We're creating that gap, and that gap is what builds that urgency to jump on that call and take that next step. With all this being said, the best way to talk in the DMs, if you guys have not heard me say this, I want you to take this in, use voice memos. You guys have the ability to use voice memos where people on the other side of the screen can actually hear your tonality. If you guys are just sending text messages, understand that they can't hear the concern in your voice. For all they think, you're just here trying to sell them, right? But that concerning tonality, that caring tonality does wonders. So make sure you guys are utilizing voice memos in the DMs. It helps you build connection twice as fast. Imagine trying to build connection with a girl you're trying to get to know, right? By only sending her text messages, never talking to her on the phone or talking to her on FaceTime. You're only sending text messages. Chances are it's going to take a lot more time to build that connection, to build that trust, because she doesn't know how to perceive your text messages without the tonality behind it. Hence the reason a lot of people get in trouble over text messages. You send something to your wife, your girl, and they don't actually take it the way that you intended. And it's because they can't hear that tonality. So same thing being said, when we're messaging potential prospects, you want to make sure that they hear the concern in our voice and understand that we're just here to help them out, right? With that being said, enjoy this module. It's going to be a good one. Watch the full thing.
Which is, I need to lock in with my DMs. I'll talk about that after. Still from Chino Hills, boom. People in my area are finding me. Age range, I put it right here, 18-24, 25-34 is most of my guys, is perfect.
Good.
And hitting the older demographic as well is really good. That's who I'm targeting. 84% male, 18% female. Need to raise it up to more male, but bang. Okay, let's go to DM sent out. I sent out 180 DMs. 50 responded. So it's really, really good. What I need to do is reframe how I'm sending out the DMs. What I've been doing
One
is
call book, 50 responses, and you have one call. One call from
Yeah,
50 responses. There's
you'll see why.
definitely
You'll see when you watch.
weight did
okay,
you
okay,
lose,
okay, okay.
stuff like that. But I'm gonna reframe it to like, okay, how much weight did you lose, and then why? Try to build the pain, and trying to pull out the emotion out of why they want to do it. I think reframing it that way, and actually changing up how I'm sending out the DMs is gonna increase the likelihood of me actually getting a call
So
booked.
so I'll explain
Because
right
I
now
think I've
too.
been too maybe
So
beating around the bush,
I
maybe just going
was
to like, yo, you
definitely
got to do this and
me
that,
and me and
giving simple tricks.
Anthony were talking about bottlenecks,
Mm-hmm.
and DMs has been my biggest bottleneck, right? Trying to get them into the call. So I can send a bunch of DMs out. I can make conversation. What I wasn't doing really was building the pain, really
Yeah.
making it an urgency. So that's my biggest thing I'm gonna work on now. I know I can just do it. I just
Yeah.
just needed it to be pointed out to myself to actually build the pain, build the urgency for them, why they need to change today and not have it later,
Like, what makes you say that?
I would kind of say like, okay, like how much weight did you lose? Like I would be like, oh bro, like so I get to the point where like, okay, what's your weight like what's your goal? How much weight do you want to lose? Boom. I already lost 12 pounds. Okay. I'm like, oh, congrats, bro. And then I never build up like any type of pain. Like, why do you want to lose the weight? I don't ask them that.
Bro, that's a struggle. Yeah.
I was just thinking about inputs of boom, let me send as many DMs as possible and get to back to everybody that's actually technically back. That I didn't put myself in the mind frame of, bro, I need to actually build the pain in these DMs.
Yeah. Why do you need to build the pain though?
Because they need to have some sort of urgency and then it makes me somebody that can actually help them, right? And give them advice. I was just trying to get in the call,
Without building up that pain, they don't even know they have a problem. If they don't
Exactly.
have a problem, why would they want your solution? Right?
Mhm.
And that's the way we need to think in the DMs. That's why building the pain is so important. Because if you come to me and, bro, I've been hitting the gym every single day, but I haven't been seeing the growth that I like, that I should be seeing. And you ask me how I'm doing in terms of my fitness goals. Bro, there's no problem, bro. I'm in there every day. I'm in there every day, all day. I don't ask you about my diet, but I've been in there every day. That's what I'm going to tell you. But the moment that you get them to open up in some shape, way, or form about that journey, okay, well, how's it been going for you? Like, how much weight have you gained? Like, what's your goal? Okay. Are you moving closer to your goal? I actually haven't made that much progress in the last couple months. Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, now that pain's kind of settling in, right? And the deeper that you go is the more of a problem they feel within, and the further they feel from that goal that they've now laid out for you, that you're now acquainted with. And then the further they are is the more urgency they have, just like you were saying. And then I was telling Charles the other day, I was telling him yesterday or this morning. No, it was yesterday. Bro, you guys do not leave a DM conversation. And I also think I talked to Anthony about it, but you guys don't leave a DM conversation with either getting a call booked or setting out a YouTube video. It's one or the other. It's either this guy is getting on my calendar, right? Or he's getting a YouTube video. I do not care if they leave you unseen, bro. Right? They leave you unseen, send them a video. Hey, I know you said that lust is a huge problem of yours right now. Shot this over, thought it might help you out. Let me know what you think, brother. Right? They might step into it, watch the video, spend 15 minutes with you. After that 15 minutes, now they're open up to the idea of actually being coached by you because they know that you have some sort of value that is of use to their life. Right? And this is why it's important to stack on those resources because, bro, if you have a resource for every circumstance, bro, you can just shoot it their way. The DMs, I had a guy come to me. One of his biggest things was procrastination. Yo, bro, give this a watch. Watched the video, came back. Yo, man, this got me so hyped, so motivated. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I need to do today. Right? Because I gave him a resource that was made by me, meaning I was the source. He didn't have to get it from some other coach. I was the source and it helped him with a specific situation. But that's what I want you guys thinking. This guy either gets booked in my calendar or he's getting a free resource. Right? The guys that leave you on red, boom, shoot them the free resource. What's the worst that can happen? They already left you on red. hey brother, I know that we talked about X and you were really struggling with it. Thought this video might help you out. Give it a watch. Let me know what you think, bro. God bless. What are they gonna say? You know what I'm saying? The whole idea I want you guys to get through is ultimately when you're focused on connection, even in your real life relationships, it's a matter of spending time with that person. It really is. And for them to like you, they have to understand more about you. Right? So we're either building rapport in the DMs to the point of getting them booked in our calendar. And if they're not there yet, if they're premature prospects, what we do is we send them long form content so they can spend more time with us.
Right.
Because like I said, the more time spent with us is the better they get to know us, and they can decipher whether they actually want to draw closer to us or not. And if not, hey, okay, bro, we gave them a free resource. You know what I'm saying? You lose absolutely nothing. Now that person is 15 minutes closer to being a warmer prospect. You understand? Remember, Alex Hormozi said 7 hours. And I would honestly say that's really on the long end, bro. That's really on the long end of things, right? 7 hours to convert a viewer into a buyer. I really think that's on the long end. But now that you got to see that progression bar, and now that guy's 15 more minutes into that, you know what I mean? Take that in when you're in the DMs. But Charles, for sure, I want you to apply this in your inbound outreach strategy today.
I'm trying to nurture them, and also like I'm trying to get them in the call, but they don't want to join. I feel like I wasn't building the urgency. You know, I wasn't building that gap.
What we're doing is we're trying to get prospects on a call prematurely. And that's why, bro, 50 responses, 1 call booked. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so low, is because you're trying to get guys on call prematurely before they even have any formulated trust with you, right? But that's why we have long-form resources. Even to the extent of, you know, building up the pain in the DMs, that's great. And if you can get them on call that way, perfect. Yeah. But if at that point you built up the pain and they're still choosing not to hop on call, it's cool. Don't force them to get on call prematurely. Send them the resource. Let them be warmed up further, right? And it's important that you send them a resource that's actually tied in with their current situation and the things that they're struggling with. Because after you identify their pain, you now know what they're struggling with, and you can help them accordingly. That's the important part, right? And then that video is going to do what it's supposed to do. Warm them up over 15 minutes. They're going to spend 15 minutes with you intimately. You build that tension up inside of their spirit from watching that video. They might hit you back and book that call, right? And even if they don't hit you back, now they're more susceptible to actually want to hear what you have to say because it resonated with them. So when you hit them back, yo, what do you think about the video? They hit you back, right? And now you cook for a little bit longer than DMs, and then you get them on call. You guys see how that makes sense?
Yeah, and I was also talking with Anthony. I want to also start in making my topics deeper. Like so I can actually have a deeper conversation right away.
Bro, yeah, me and Anthony were actually talking about it. I'm actually glad that you brought that up. His conversations, from what we were talking about, is they always start pretty deep. Like the guy opens up off rip, and it's because of the level of, it's because he's always talking about underlining like deep-rooted messages when it comes to his content. Like if you look at Anthony's content, he always talks about deep-rooted messages. And that is like the best conversation starter, because when you hop in the DMs and you ask them, you know, what'd you get from my content? Why'd you resonate with it? They get right into their story because the content was about deep-rooted problems they're facing, right? So they're already down here. You know what I'm saying? They're already like under surface level, and they're opening up, talking about
that's already built up from the jump, right?
Yeah, but the thing is with Anthony is that the biggest thing with him is that now he's getting caught up in those conversations about things like lust and things that are sort of like really not related with fitness. And he's having to try and pull the conversation over into the fitness aspect, and he just feels like it's forced, right? And what we can do in that sense, bro, is Anthony, I honestly want you to be more particular about little things, bro. I actually thought about this, and I was thinking about this when I filmed my video today, because I filmed another kingdom mindset type of video, and I wanted to make it evident that like I help online fitness coaches. I'm not just, you know, a business coach that helps everyone, you know? And to make it sit better with people, like I purposely wore the Gymshark shirt, bro. Right? I purposely wore the. I'm not gonna sit in front of the camera shirtless, but I purposely do the little things that show that I'm in shape. You know, my biceps showing. You know what I'm saying? The Gymshark, right? The little things. Just, and I say this to you because I know you're filming on your dorm right now. When I know you were at home and you were able to film in the gym and whatnot, and that itself would give people a good idea of what's going on in the DMs, right? But right now, you're just a guy that's making content. Sometimes you talk about fitness, but you're, wearing casual shirts and you're just in your room. You know what I'm saying? But that might give it a little hint. Just know what's up, right? But also just like we discussed, like tying in fitness more in the DMs, and just you can straight up figuring out how you can use your testimony and your discipline that you built in the gym. Because one of the biggest variables is lust. Like, I would talk about that discipline that you built in the gym and how it correlated over with your faith walk. And that's how I'd sort of like pull it over into the fitness conversation more. But Charles, okay, makes sense now?
Who are you sending 100 in DMs to?
Everybody that's reacting to my stuff. Anybody that's reacting. Oh, how'd you like the video? What did you think about it?
Okay.
They comment even better. Yeah.
You look at their profiles beforehand?
Mm-hmm.